Hello, I want to welcome each and every of you to the maiden edition of Teens Reality TV show. I am your host, Pastor Udo. Our vision is to create a new brand of teenagers who can get to understand who they are, who they were created to be by God, and helping them navigate this life easily by His help. It is so important. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Teens Reality. I am your host, Pastor Udo. I want to welcome each and every one of you who might be joining us for the very first time today. We appreciate your presence. Remember, this is Life Changers Touch TV on our YouTube channel. That's our YouTube channel, is Life Changers Touch TV. We urge every one of you who has not subscribed, like, and follow to quickly do so right now, so you will get access to not just this particular TV show program, but other shows that are designed to bless you, to inspire you, to encourage you, and entertain you. A lot of them are informative and educative. You do not want to miss out on it. Today, we're going to be continuing on a topic we've been discussing for quite a while now: preparing your teen for life's challenges. In our past few episodes, we took our time to look at biblical characters that had relationships with the Lord, and how cultivating one can help your teenager navigate life's challenges much more easily. Now, we are still looking at the subtopic under our major topic: the role you have to play as a parent, you understand, in preparing your teenager for those life's challenges. Now, I want to introduce a particular aspect that many of you might have been trying to run away from for quite a while. Many of you as parents had a very wild past. So, seeing as how you feel like you've reformed now and you're being calm, you're being gentle, you feel like, oh, there's some things I don't need to be discussed with my kids. It turns out that some of your experiences can go a long way in shaping them. What do I mean? Many times, people don't want to hear the word no when you tell them that something is dangerous for them. To their own understanding, oh, I've not tried it. Why do I think? Why do you believe it will not work for me? Why do you believe it's going to be harmful to me? So, because they've not met anyone personally that can tell them, I've tried this, it definitely should not be something you should try yourself. They are not inclined to believe that course of action, or going to that place, or hanging out with that person, is going to be dangerous or harmful to them. But are you aware that some kids are just waiting for you to open up, so it can breach a divide and make them realize that instead of having to experience that pain for themselves, they can learn from your own personal experiences. So this is to you parents out there who might have been struggling with the feelings of your past and thinking, okay, I don't want my kid to know this about me. There are some things I would like you to consider sharing with them. So we start off with this. Your past doesn't disqualify you as a parent. Instead, it equips you to become a stronger one. Wow. So true. It doesn't disqualify you. Remember, children cannot necessarily choose the parents they have. They don't choose. But I want to remember something. You might have made mistakes in the past, but it doesn't disqualify you to be a parent now. The question is, do you understand what is required of you as a parent? And are you willing to carry it out? That is what is going to make the whole world of difference to your teenager. Because it's not just about giving life to that child. We talked about when we were under the series Parental Guidance. We talked about the fact that, is it being the biological parent of a child, is that what makes you a parent? And we said no. There are some who have adopted kids. They are not biologically related to that child, but they are in every way the true parent of that child. So it's all about an understanding of your responsibility towards that child and your willingness to carry it out consciously, deliberately, and consistently. That's what really makes you a parent. You know what is required. You know that your child needs you and you're not holding back from giving them absolutely what they need to become who they're supposed to be. So first things first, your past does not disqualify you as a parent. Instead, it equips you to become a stronger one. We'll continue now. As parents, we often feel that our past mistakes make us unworthy to guide our children. Thoughts like this creep in. How can I teach them about purity when I didn't live that way? How do I warn them about wrong choices when I made those same choices? But the truth is this: your past, no matter how broken, doesn't disqualify you. It equips you. How? It gives you compassion, insight, humility, and the kind of wisdom that only comes through experience and God's mercy. That is what it gives to you. Those things you're castigating yourself over, beating up yourself over, are things that you have learned from. Remember, you've learned from them. You've transformed your life right now. You're actually raising a teenager. And so far, you've been doing good. But now you're at that stage where they are likely to make those same mistakes if you don't speak up, if you don't speak out. And perhaps you're not telling yourself, oh, I don't want them to have a distorted image of me. I don't want them to look at me now, begin to see me in a whole new light. Perhaps they will begin to judge me, or perhaps they will begin to feel justified in doing those same wrong actions you yourself once did. No, you don't need to think that way. There might be a possibility of that happening, yes, but please don't think that way. Remember, the idea is to build upon what you have learned from those past experiences and then channel it into teaching your teenager now. Those experiences have taught you how to be compassionate. They have taught you humility. They have given you insights. You begin to realize that those years when your own parents were speaking to you, when you were a teenager back then, a young person, and you refused to listen. And now you're realizing that, the voice of a parent is so invaluable. You understand? You cannot rate it. You cannot give it a price rate. It has true significance. So the idea is that you want to bring into the consciousness of your teenager the value that those your past experiences can play in guiding them into making better choices themselves. So it's not the time to beat up yourself about the fact that maybe you lived a wild and righteous life like when we saw in the story of the prodigal son. It's time to say instead, having made those mistakes, did I continue in it or not? If you did not continue and you made a change, then it is something that your teenager can learn from. They can draw essence from. They can be encouraged by. Let's look at a story right now that will give better understanding of what we're trying to pass across. So this is a story of vulnerability and restoration. It says, I once met a father, Mr. Dean, successful, respected, and deeply devoted to raising godly children. Yet, despite his best efforts, he struggled to truly connect with his eldest son, B. There was love between them, but also a quiet, emotional distance. One day, Mr. Dean felt a strong prompting to do something he had never done before. What was that? Share his own struggles as a young man. He had made poor choices in university, followed the wrong crowd, and nearly destroyed his future. He had never spoken of it, not even to his wife. That evening, he sat B down and said, I want to tell you something. It's not a story I'm proud of, but I believe it will help you. As he talked, B listened closely, his eyes wide. Dad made mistakes too. Dad also felt lost at some point. That moment shattered the image of superhero dad and replaced it with something better. Real dad. And for the first time, B opened up about the pressures at school, the temptations he was facing, and the confusion in his heart. That conversation became the doorway to a deeper more honest, and healing relationship. He decided to share when he felt that prompt. Perhaps he had been looking at B, that's Mr. Dean, and he had been realizing that if I don't speak out now, B is going to make a serious mistake, the likes of which will probably haunt him for some time to come before he learns how to deal with it. And he decided to step in. I'll expose what I went through to ensure that B doesn't have to deal with it his own self. And see what happened. It broke down that barrier. You see that emotional disconnection. There was an emotional distance between them. He's being honest about his part. And I like the way he stated that this is something I was not proud of, or something I believe that if you listen to, you will learn from. That's a good angle to begin with when you're speaking to your own teenager. Tell them, this is something I did, or something I'm not proud of. But I want to point it out to you now so you can see for yourself why I'm being vehement or adamant about the fact that you must not go in this direction, you must not hang out with this group of friends, you must not make this particular choice. Because I made it once myself and I faced the consequences of it. I don't want to have you deal with those same consequences to yourself. And let me give you an example. Take for instance a teenager, perhaps just 14 or 15, that is insistent on dating a teenager is already about 18 or 19. That's a young girl wanting to date an older boy, you understand? And the parents are like, no, don't do that. You're still young. For now, focus on your studies, focus on just building like normal healthy relationships, friendships with people. Don't go into the dating scene so early. And it's just like, no, all my friends are doing it. I'm the odd one out. If I don't do it, I'll stand out. People are going to be going to the different hangouts. Everyone will be pairing up together when they have group projects, and I'm the only one left out. And your teenager feels like they are justified. They're giving you all these sound reasons to their own mind why they should begin dating. And you're letting them. You imagine if you now begin to share with them, and it turns out that you begin to share with them, and it turns out that you once did the same thing. Your parents tried to restrain you. You refused to heed their warning. And you went ahead to date that older guy. And it turns out that you began to engage in teenage sex. Not just teenage sex. You did not protect yourself. You ended up becoming pregnant. Having become pregnant, at that point, maybe the decision your parents had to make was that, an abortion. You had to have an abortion. Now, this is something perhaps you've never even told your own spouse. Something you're still quietly dealing with, the loss of that child and the pain. And now you realize that you have a daughter now who is about to go down that same path. And you are looking at the fact that if I don't speak up now, something is going to go wrong. My daughter is not seeing this from this perspective. She's only seeing it from the reality of the fact that she's missing out on a lot of fun, that her friends are going to be criticizing her and looking down on her. And now you're realizing you need to speak up. I want you to realize that past you had, it doesn't disqualify you. Instead, it has given you insight into the kind of future that your daughter can walk into if she makes that same choice you made. And you let her know that you are speaking for her own good. And at that moment, you make up that mind, you make that decision, and you begin to share with her. And suddenly, her perspective changes. And she realizes that already she has begun to hear rumors of some friends among their groups who have begun having sex at an early age. And the realization that shortly one of them might become pregnant. If they do become pregnant, what next? Would they have to abort? Or would they have to raise that child at that young age? Sacrificing some other opportunities. Because some might have decided to abort, some might have decided to raise that child and maybe ended up not going to the university. Some might have been cast out of the homes of their parents. There are different consequences to that particular action. But right now, you are sharing what happened for your own self. When you're trying to let your child know, I want you to see it from this perspective. Because remember, you're not trying to discount the reality that your teenager is currently facing, because we've made you understand this is their reality. And right then, Teenagers, when they feel this is what they are going through, they feel like this is the only thing they are seeing. The idea is to get them to see from a different perspective so that their choices are not only made based on how they are feeling at that point in time. That's the idea. We are not discounting your reality as a teenager. We're not discounting the fact that you don't want to be the odd one out. You don't want to feel pressure from your peers and stuff. No. But instead, we want you to see it in the long run, in the future. See what happens. B finally realized, my dad is not just a superhero, he's a real dad. He made mistakes too. He experienced loss. But he became better because now the child begins to see, he or she, that your parents made a mistake, but ultimately, they have put or gotten their lives back on track. They did not wallow in that mistake. They decided to step out of it, grow and become someone better. So your past is something you might need to introduce, even as you're preparing your team for life's challenges. Alright, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we will return. Remember, we want to hear what you have to say. Your own reality. Right now, I think this is a moment where people should begin now share. As teenagers, begin to share what your current reality is. If as a parent you're watching this, you can begin to share with us. Maybe some of those past, you're not sure of how appropriate it is. You're not sure which one should be clear to be shared. Please feel free to share with us. Your identity is preserved. You can read it out in an anonymous way, so people don't know whose story it is about. So you can let you know what is appropriate to share with your teenagers and what should maybe be kept under lock and key for now till they are much older. The number to reach out to us is +234 813 929 2708, or send an email to teensreality@lifechangerstorch.org. Do stay tuned, we'll be back shortly. Hello, I want to welcome each and every of you to the maiden edition of Teens Reality TV show. I am your host, Pastor Udo. Our vision is to create a new brand of teenagers who can get to understand who they are, who they were created to be by God, and helping them navigate this life easily by His help. It is so important. Alright, welcome back to that quick break. Thank you for staying tuned. So we've pointed out that you want to have a deeper relationship, a deeper connection with your child. It just might be time for you to open up and share what is needful. We'll continue reading what we're looking into so far. Now it says, children don't need perfect parents. They need honest ones. Very true. Many of us grew up thinking that good parents hide their weaknesses. But scripture teaches the opposite. God uses broken people for His glory. Moses had a past, David had a past, Paul had a past, the Samaritan woman had a past. Yet God turned their stories into testimonies. Paul boldly said in 1 Timothy 1 verse 15, Christ Jesus came into the world to save sinners, of whom I am chief. He didn't hide his past. He used it to teach, to warn, and equip others. The Bible also reminds us in Romans 8 verse 28, all things work together for good to them that love God. Yes, even your mistakes can work for good when surrendered to God. Your story becomes your child's guide. When you share your struggles, scars, and lessons, you give your children two priceless gifts. One, the wisdom of your experience. Number two, the safety of transparency. The wisdom of your experience and the safety of transparency. Let's continue from here first of all. See, it says, they don't need perfect parents. They need honest ones. Parents who can be real. He said it changed from being a superhero dad to a real dad. They want parents who can identify, parents who who don't look like, parents that don't seem to have clay feet, who don't seem human, who just seem like they've never done anything wrong, they've never stepped a toe out of line. Sometimes they can give too much pressure, like what the Chinese will call yali, too much pressure, yali to the children. And your children don't need that. They want to know that yes, I'm a teacher, I'll make mistakes. But even in making these mistakes, I will not be condemned. I have parents who will look to guide me and ensure I do not continue in that path. Moses once killed a man. Paul once killed many Christians. He persecuted them. The Samaritan man was like a prostitute, like a harlot. Everyone had a past. But from that past, God did something beautiful the moment they surrendered to Him. That is why we have been emphasizing the place of a relationship with God in preparing your teenager for life's challenges. There is a place of surrender that ultimately gives them the strength to forge ahead. It makes them now that they will no longer begin to focus on those mistakes. God will begin to let them see the glory and the beauty that can be brought forth from that past mistake. It begins to show them that with this, you can step forward. Paul was involved in persecuting Christians, eventually revolutionized the world by spreading the gospel to the Gentile world. A lot of people now had access to receive the gospel. Moses eventually turned out to be the liberator of his people, the Israelites, from Egypt. There is a lot that the Lord can do through you as a parent, as a teenager. So you tell your teenager, as long as they are willing to surrender and trust the Lord, they will begin to see things fall in line for them. They will see things begin to work out in a way they never thought possible. But the most important thing to do is be honest with your child. Don't make them think like they are aspiring to become something that you know was never the case for you all the days of your life. Be real with them, be open, share with them, and use it to teach them. Use it to teach them. God will make all things work out for good to those who love Him. If you're God's own child, He's on board with you. Allow Him direct your life, allow Him teach you and show you what you need to do. Now we'll continue. So having understood that by sharing those struggles and scars, you are giving your children those two wonderful gifts, the wisdom of your experience and the safety of transparency, they begin to understand that struggles are not unique to them. They begin to understand that even mom or dad once felt confused or tempted. They begin to understand that God can redeem any story. They begin to understand that they can come to you without fear of judgment. You become much more approachable to them. That's it. They begin to understand all these things. Your vulnerability becomes a bridge to connection. Your past is a testimony, not a disqualification. Don't hide your story out of shame. God already used it to shape you. Now, let Him use it to equip your children. Remember what God says in 2 Corinthians 12 verse 9. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Your weakness becomes strength when God breathes on it. You were once young too. You made choices, some good, some painful, but God's grace brought you this far. Use your journey as a light for your children, so they don't stumble where you stumbled. Let them hear your testimony. Let them learn from your mistakes. Let them see that God is a redeemer of stories. Your past does not define you. It prepares you. And your honesty could be what leads your child into wisdom, strength, and freedom. Hallelujah. May the Lord continue to help us do the right thing, guide our children with humility, and raise a generation grounded in truth. Wow. So you've seen that for yourself. It is time to use what you've experienced. Share that testimony with your child. So it will help them see that yes, out from those mistakes, the Lord can redeem them. He can turn their story around. He can make them truly wonderful and become who He has called them to be. It's not the time to give up. It's not the time to feel bad. It's not the time to look down on yourself. We've taken out a lot of time to look at the way you can prepare your child. And now ultimately it still ends with you as the parent, the role you have to play. Revealing your scars, revealing your struggles if need be. Let them see for themselves what is possible and what can be done. Don't hold back. Share with them freely. Talk about it. And let them see that God will give you the grace that was more than sufficient, can also give them the grace to stand out. They don't need to get on the bandwagon of what other teenagers are doing. They don't need to be doing what others are doing simply to feel among. They can choose to represent God and be the light in their classroom, be the light in that activity center, be the light in that campground. They can stand out for truth, for honesty. They can be real. Because you have been real with them, you have shown to them that their weakness can become strength when God breathes upon it. As long as they are willing to trust the Lord, as long as they are willing to trust the Father, they can be transformed beyond imagining. And that is what you want to build in your teenager. One who is confident, who is not afraid of facing those challenges, who faces them, comes back to share with you, you guys discuss about it, and you keep moving on, moving further, making progress, advancing. That's what you all begin to do. You all begin to do it. And before you know it, you'll see your teenager becomes more calm, more defined, more deliberate. They're able to tell you, okay, this is how I see my life going. They're able to make plans that you can discuss together with them, together with the Holy Spirit, and ensure that they are set on the right course for their future. Alright, in our next episode, we're going to be taking questions and discussing opinions that have been generated from this series and our previous series. You understand? So I want to encourage you, this is the time now not to hold back. Send in as many questions as you have. Send in those opinions, send in those comments. I want to hear what you're thinking. As a teenager, I want to know what your current reality is, and perhaps you're struggling to change your own perspective, or perhaps even your parents are speaking to you, but you have not really seen the way they are seeing, and you need more help, more guidance. Don't be shy, be free to share with us. Do so using the number +234 813 929 2708, or send an email to teensreality@lifechangerscoach.org. Thank you to every one of you who has stayed tuned as we've taken our time to explore deeply on this wonderful topic. You are best. Hello, I want to welcome each and every one of you to the maiden edition of Teens Reality TV show. I am your host, Pastor Udo. Our vision is to create a new brand of teenagers who can get to understand who they are, who they were created to be by God, and helping them navigate this life easily by His help. It is so important.